welcome to the channel, guys. This is basically another obvious ritual that I'm going to show you that I've been talking about in my last couple videos. If you guys have not gone back and watched my two videos I made last week, one of them is Avatar Way of the Water, and the next one is the next day, the German aquarium that bursts. Okay? And this is all tied to Christmas, the birth ritual that's going on in the world, and Nazi Germany. And obviously the Jesuits, and there's so many things that it's tied to, but I just want to show you the obvious connections that they continue to bring up with this Hitler and Putin thing, because it's really, I'm going to show you how even Zelensky mentions Hitler in his speech yesterday, and I'm going to show you how it's completely tied. But anyways, yesterday this guy Franco Harris died. He played for the Steelers, which just happened to have the same colors as Germany, and he dies yesterday, only a few days after the movie Avatar Way of the Water, which I made a video about and showed how it's connected to Nazi Germany and their award that they handed out in 1938, okay, called the Mother's Cross, and how it's connected to the star of the movie, Zoe Saldana. Again, if you haven't watched those movies, please go back and watch. But this man who died yesterday, Franco Harris, he's known for the Immaculate Reception, which is a play on words for the Immaculate Conception, which is about, obviously, the Virgin Mary. And remember, the NFL season this year started on the day they celebrate the Virgin Mary's birth, and this is also the day the Queen died. And this death takes place 103 days after the Queen's death and after the Virgin Mary's birthday. And this is the 103rd NFL season. So it's very clear. In my last video about Franco Harris, I talked about how it's connected to Kamala Harris, who was also a big subject yesterday when Zelensky visited the White House. She received a Ukrainian flag. And so anyway, the Immaculate Conception was a play that happened in 1972. And this guy, Franco Harris, dies at the age 72. And he dies 2 days or 3 days before the anniversary of his Immaculate Reception. The Immaculate Reception took place 2 days before Christmas in 1972, and now it takes place, now he dies 5 days before Christmas in 2022, which is, again, 50 years. And I'm going to show you how that's tied to the Nazis and how that's tied to the Steelers. But again, here's the Immaculate Conception, which most of you probably already know, but I just wanted to show you what this is referencing, the Immaculate Reception and the Immaculate Conception. It's all about Christmas. Remember, the Immaculate Reception took place only a few days before Christmas in 1972. So it was obviously a big Christmas ritual, and I'm going to show you how the Christmas is tied to all this Nazi symbolism, because it's very clear that Christmas and everything that has to do with Germany and Nazism is very closely tied. So, with that being said, here's the actual showing of the Immaculate Reception, December 23rd, 1972. It was the Pittsburgh Steelers, who is the team that Franco Harris played for, and he made the play against the Oakland Raiders. And I want you guys to remember these two teams, because I'm also going to tie them in with the Vikings, which I've been talking a lot about in my last couple of videos. But notice that the Immaculate Conception happened at Three Rivers Stadium, and Three Rivers is a direct match to Mother of Jesus. And remember, it's the Immaculate Conception where the Mother of Jesus, and it's the Immaculate Reception that happens at Three Rivers. Do you see what I mean? And Three Rivers also reminds me of the three kings, or the three wise men that come to give gifts to Jesus. So not a coincidence, I don't believe, that this happened at Three Rivers Stadium. And So, a couple of years after that Immaculate Reception by Franco Harris, he was in the Super Bowl versus the Minnesota Vikings. All right, and again, the other day on the Pope's birthday, the Minnesota Vikings just completed the biggest comeback in NFL history. And again, I don't think it's a coincidence that we have a guy dying that's famous for the Immaculate Reception and also very famous for winning Super Bowl MVP on January 12th, 1975 against the Vikings in the Super Bowl. Remember, the Vikings have lost all 4 of their Super Bowls they've been in. And get this, guys, the Minnesota Vikings have been in both Super Bowl 9 and Super Bowl 11. So think about this symbolism already. The Vikings, the Twin Cities, were in Super Bowl 9 and 11. And what happened on 9/11, guys? The Twin Towers. So again, clear ritual. This was a ritual many years before this even happened, and it was very clear that it was predictive programming. What are the chances that the Twin Cities are in Super Bowls 9 and 11? Here's Super Bowl 11, where they play the Raiders, okay? And here's Super Bowl 9, where they play the Steelers, and they lost both, okay? Now again, what's interesting about this is that the Vikings played the Steelers and the Raiders in Super Bowl 9 and 11, and I just told you that the game that involves the Immaculate Conception with Franco Harris was between the Raiders and the Steelers. I should also mention that this week in the NFL, the Steelers are playing the Raiders again. Right after he dies, the Steelers are playing the very team that he made the catch against. How scripted could it be? And again, the Vikings played both teams in Super Bowls 9 and 11. So this is telling us the next 9/11 is coming, guys. I keep telling you guys this. But it's very clear that all this symbolism is predictive programming for what's coming. All right? But with that being said, I told you that Franco Harris was a clear Nazi ritual, and again, if this again, more proof. I told you that Franco Harris dies 2 days before the 50th anniversary of his Immaculate Reception, and Nazi equals 50. But not only does Nazi equal 50, but Nazi Party equals 50. And notice the connection between Franco Harris and Nazi Party. They both equal 130. All right? And again, Franco Harris wears the German colors for the team that he played for. He also played for the Seattle Seahawks, which is another whole story in itself, and I think could be tied to the next 9/11, which I think might be in Seattle. But with that being said, also notice that the close tie that the Steelers have with the Nazi Party, they equal 103. And again, guys, he dies 103 days after the start of this NFL season. But notice that Nazi Party equals 113 and 50, just like Steelers and Auschwitz, which is a big part of the Nazi regime. So again, what are the chances? I just told you about the 50 in this last slide, and how Franco Harris, and the 50 is huge because we're in the Jubilee year, guys. We're in the Jewish Jubilee year, which is the 50th year. So it's all about all these things come together perfectly. There's not just one thing being tied together here. There's always multiple factors being tied together. So you can't just say, oh, this is not going on because this is going on. No, it's all tied together, my friends. And the 50 is huge right now. But with that being said, let's talk about Super Bowls 9 and 11, which I told you involved the Raiders and the Steelers, the two teams that were involved in the Immaculate Conception. Because remember, Super Bowl 9 was the Steelers and the Vikings, and Super Bowl 11 was the Raiders and the Vikings lost both of those. But notice that obviously if you type Super Bowl 11 and 9, it's going to be the same, because in Roman numerals, 11 and 9 are the same, letters, X and I, except they're moved. So what are the chances, again, guys, that Super Bowl 9 and 11 are a direct match to Nazi Germany, 133-61, guys? And not only that, in 4 ciphers, Super Bowl 9 and 11 are a 4-cipher match to Nazi Germany. And Super Bowl 9 and 11 are a two-cipher match, again, to Hail Hitler, which is what they used to say. All right? Again, to ask yourselves, what are the chances that I've already been weak this Nazi stuff, and now it's all manifesting itself? All right? So as I hit the wrong thing. But anyways, I just showed you this with the Super Bowl 9 and 11. And now, let's talk about this Christmas connection. Because again, I just told you that we're a few days before Christmas. And back in 1972, when Franco Harris made his reception, it was a few days before Christmas. Notice that Adolf Hitler is a 110 like Christmas. And notice that Jesus was born in Nazareth, which just happens to have the same three first letters as Nazi. I mean, what are the chances of this, guys? And what are the chances that if you put Jesus Nazi, it equals 56, just like Hail Hitler in Nazi Germany? And coronation, because remember, we're having the king being coronated this year on May 6th, which is 5-6. All right? Also, Jesus of Nazareth equals 62, like if you combine the words Nazi and Nazareth, which I just thought were very interesting, that Naz and Nazi and Nazareth are essentially starting with the same first three letters. And I'm already making all these other connections with Christmas. Okay? So why is it far-fetched to see that this is all scripted so closely together? Not to mention that Feliz Navidad, which is a very popular song, has the first three letters A, just like, which reminds me of the element sodium, which is abbreviated Na. But anyways, Feliz Navidad equals 113 like Nazi Party. And again, I showed you back here the 113s, the Steelers equal 113 also. And, I just showed you that Nazi Party equals 113 and Feliz Navidad equals 113. And if that wasn't enough, not only does Adolf Hitler and Christmas have a match, but Germany and Christmas both equal 38 in the same cipher. Christmas equals 133 and 61 like Nazi Germany. And remember the movie I talked about last week about how it was tied ritual to the Nazi party? Well, notice that Avatar, the Way of Water, equals 80 like Nazi birth ritual and like Bavarian Illuminati. And remember, guys, Bavarian is Germany. The Bavarian Illuminati is based out of Germany. So again, it all goes back to Germany. Notice that Jesus of Nazareth is a two-cipher match with 188 and 217 to Nazi birth ritual. Jesus of Nazareth, the phrase where Jesus was born, is a direct match in two ciphers to Nazi birth ritual. And Jesus is a birth ritual. Right? I'm not saying he didn't have birth. I'm saying that this is all tied together. Also, Bavarian Illuminati equals 188 and 80. Again, 188 just like Jesus of Nazareth. And just like Nazi birth ritual. Okay? And if that wasn't enough to verify my whole theory that they want us to see that they're focusing on this Nazi Germany theme, yesterday the big story was Zelensky visiting the White House. And this is his exact quote, guys. I typed it down. Just like the brave American forces that fought back Hitler's forces during the Christmas of 1944. And the video, so not only does Zelensky reference Hitler and Christmas in the same sentence, you can go back and listen to it, guys. But just notice that Christmas and Nazi Germany equal 133. And notice that they have in quotations on the video that's posted by Reuters, not charity. And not charity equals 133. What are the chances, guys? Come on. This is all scripted. What are the chances that the highlight, the video, the words that they put in quotations on the video equal 133? In the speech itself, in the video, he mentions Germany, Nazi Germany, which equals 133, and he mentions Christmas, okay? Which equals 133. And it's almost Christmas. And if that wasn't enough, guys, look at all these words that are involved in Zelensky's speech. He's talking about Nazi Germany, which equals 133. But notice all the 110s here. Zelensky is the president of Ukraine, which equals 110. He mentions Christmas in the speech, which equals 110. He mentions Hitler, which equals 110. And Christmas is all about the Christ, which equals 110. Just look at all these matches, guys. And again, based off of all the things I've already showed in my prior videos about this tie to Nazi Germany and Christmas and this time period, it should be very obvious now that this time period every year is going to be a huge Germany ritual, especially this year. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys take care out there. And I hope this was clear and understandable for you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everyone.